guys, it's Mrs. Montague. This video, I am going to give you a brief overview of GSuite. So everybody in our school system gets access to GSuite, which is what we use with our one-to-one Chromebook fleet, which most of you are aware of. So I'm just going to briefly in this particular video walk you through each application we have access to with GSuite and just give you a brief overview of what it does and how you can use it. Okay, so first up is Gmail. So all of you are hopefully familiar with this. Gmail is what we use to communicate and what we use to email each other. There are a bunch of customization options in Gmail, and you can get Gmail on any mobile device as long as you have a cell signal or access to the internet on that device. So if you don't know, I will show you really quickly as I move through this what each looks like. You can see I've got the links there for the different applications. So I've moved all of my emails out of my inbox for privacy purposes, but this is my Gmail. I've changed my background to look a little bit customized for me. I like outer space. So that's your brief overview of Gmail, and that's what it looks like. And over here, you can see I've got my inbox and everything else, and all of my folders that I've put things in. Alrighty, that is your email. Okay, next up is Google Drive. So Google Drive is where you store all of your files. Now, Google Drive does work with more than just your Google files. So yes, you can save your Google Docs and your Google Sheets and your Google Slides and everything else Google related in there, but you can also save videos, you can save images, you can save JPEGs, PDFs, all of that kind of stuff can be put into Google Drive and organized that way. So Google Drive should be your one-stop shop for all of the information that you want to save. Okay, so again, here is Google Drive. You can see I've got the link put in that slideshow, and it's taken a minute to load. All right, so of course you see all of the files I've been working on lately, how I've got my files kind of organized. So you've got your main drive, and that's drive.google.com gets you there. And that's where you access all of your files. So if you click on like my MHS folder here, you can see that I have tons and tons of subfolders and all kinds of things in here. So Google Drive, one-stop shop for all of your information. Next up, we've got Google Docs. So Google Docs is similar to Microsoft Word. It's full of all of the useful features for text formatting, writing research papers, but the really big thing on the Google Docs is the ability to share them and collaborate on them. So you can share a Google Doc with a partner if you're working on a project, another teacher if you're doing a collaborative unit, anything like that, and you guys can both edit on the Google document at the same time to share your information without having to be face-to-face. So again, docs.google.com gets you to your documents. It will show you a bunch of templates that you can use to get you started, or you can just create a blank new document from docs.google.com. Alrighty, next up we have Google Sheets. So the comparable Microsoft program is of course Microsoft Excel, and Google Sheets is used for all of your spreadsheet needs. They do have some of the advanced spreadsheet capabilities that Microsoft Excel would have, such as the ability to use functions and all of that kind of stuff in there. And again, you'll kind of notice a trend as we go through here. The sharing and collaboration of Google Sheets is a big piece of it. So again, just like a Google Doc, you can share a Google Sheet and both of you can collaborate at the same time. So it looks like forgot my link in there, skipping ahead. But again, it is sheets.google.com is the link to get you started on Sheets. Google Slides is the next one that is comparable to Microsoft PowerPoint. So you can make presentations, whether that be a presentation that you're using for a lecture with your class or a presentation that the kids are making for a project. You can integrate all of your content in there just like you would on a Microsoft PowerPoint. So you can add pictures, you can add sounds, you can add transitions between slides. All of that kind of stuff you can use. And then yet again, with our sharing and collaboration, Google Slides is fully collaborative. So you can share with somebody else and both be working on your presentation at the same time. Slides.google.com gets you there. Next up is Forms, and that's forms.google.com. So as far as I know, there is not a Microsoft equivalent to Forms. This one is pretty unique. But Microsoft Forms is good if you want to send out surveys, tests, quizzes, or just do some simple data collection. It's basically, just a survey that you send out. All the different question types in there are very useful. You've got anything from multiple choice questions to short answer questions, long answer questions. You can set your questions to only take number inputs. You can do like a drop-down menu. You can do a rating scale. So all kinds of questions that you can put in there for Google Forms. And again, sharing and collaboration comes into play with Google Forms. You can collaborate on making the form, but you can also share the output of Google Forms. So all the responses that you get on that Google form can be shared because Google Forms will automatically put all the information you get back into a spreadsheet. So you can share that spreadsheet out with people that you need to as well. One thing I really like about Forms is that when you get your answers in, it will automatically generate like charts and graphs and things that give you visual representations of your data. So rather than you having to export all of that to a spreadsheet and make your own charts and graphs, they've got some built in that helps you with that. So again, forms.google.com. Next up, we've got drawings.google.com. So the equivalent of that would be kind of like a Microsoft Paint and Publisher mashup, if you've ever used either of those. So you can create your own unique graphics. You can use like the tools that they've got in there to create shapes. You can free draw. You can do kind of like pixel art stuff in there. So all kinds of things you can do with Google Drawings. And that's if you need to make unique graphics for something that you're working on and you might not be finding it online that you can use. So you can create your own in Google Drawings. And of course, Google Drawings works across all the Google stuff. So like if I wanted to insert one of my drawings into a Google Doc or insert one of my drawings into a Google slideshow, you've got that capability. They're all integrated together. Again, sharing and collaboration. You can share a drawing and have two people collaborating on a drawing at once, or more than two people. And that's drawings.google.com. Next up is Google Classroom, which is a huge one for us, especially right now. So classroom.google.com gets you to Google Classroom, and it's really a learning space for your class. So you can share announcements with your class. You can create assignments in your class. You can grade work within Classroom. There's the ability to turn on discussion posts in Google Classroom. You can provide feedback to your students on their assignments and stuff with Google Classroom. And a big feature of it too is that you can invite parents of students to be able to view their child's Google Classroom. So if you've got any parents who are wanting to get more involved with what their students are doing at school, you can invite them via their email address to add them to that classroom, and they'll have access to be able to see everything that's being shared with your students. And of course, Google Classroom is fully integrated with the rest of the GSuite apps, so you can easily connect documents, sheets, slides, forms, all of that kind of stuff directly into Google Classroom. It's very, very easy to do, and in the Classroom instructional video, I'll show you how. So again, that's classroom.google.com. Next up is Google Sites. Now this one I think a lot of people aren't totally familiar with, but I think it's a pretty useful tool. So if you've looked at the Media Center websites that's got the teacher portal and the student portal, both of those Media Center websites were created using Google Sites. So all educators get access to Google Sites, and it's basically a beginner website creation. So you can create your own website very easily. It's of course integrated with all of the rest of the G Suite apps, so you can insert all of the appropriate information from your drive into your website very easily. They give you some templates, so you can have, a template design your whole site so it's consistent throughout. There's different layouts you can do for it, and everything like that. So again, I'll have a little bit more information in the site specific video that I'll do a little later. But that is Google Sites. Again, you can share and collaborate on a Google site as well. That's sites.google.com. Next up is your Google Calendar. That's calendar.google.com. So it's a full-featured calendar, and they are integrated with Gmail. So if you've got something that you put on your calendar, it will send you email reminders if you've got an upcoming meeting, or if you're just putting in a reminder that you've got to do something, it will send you a reminder to your email, and you may have a reminder pop up in your notifications on your Chromebook if you've got notifications enabled for Google Calendar. And again, Google Calendars are fully collaborative, so you can share your calendars with others. Multiple people can put events on the calendar. And one really cool feature I wanted to mention on the Google Calendar is that you can check the availability of your colleagues. So if you're trying to set a meeting up with somebody, but you're not quite sure when they're available, Google Calendar will search their calendar to see when they're busy versus when they're available, and give you a list of when they're available so you could potentially set your meeting for that. So again, calendar.google.com. Next up is Google Groups. So Google Groups is a group collaboration and communication tool. What we use it for is actually email. So if you send an email to MHS all, that is technically a Google group. The emails that I send out to the whole entire 9th grade, that is because I created a 9th grade group in Google Groups. So mostly you use that to set up emailing lists, so you can create a nice little group email address that sends to everyone rather than having to type in individual email addresses of everyone. So that makes that communication a little bit easier. And then just to mention, I'm not going to go too in depth into these, but there's Google Jamboard, which you can create music and that kind of stuff with. Google Hangouts is a good communication option. It's basically a chat. You can do video conferencing with Google Hangouts. I will mention about Hangouts that it is not available to students. So Google Hangouts is only available to faculty and staff. Students do not have access to Google Hangouts at this point. And then lastly is Google Vault, and that is basically secure storage of your files. So if there's anything that you do not want to lose and you want to keep that forever, you might want to check out Google Vault. Okay, so let me know if you've got any questions. I will be doing videos on each of these things, going into a little bit more detail about how to use them individually. So that's about it. Just let me know if you've got questions, and I would be happy to help.